Hello Scorpio, hello and welcome into your general tarot card reading for the second half of October. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use 3 Rider-Waite decks because I just go with the flow and feels like a right thing to do. So, and also I'm going to use my runes that I truly love, and I'm going to use one of those oracle spiritual message cards. So, Scorpio, those 3 cards are going to be representing following. This is representing the overall theme of those 2 weeks for you, and we have the Hermit. This card is going to be represent you during those 2 weeks, and is represented by the Hierophant. This card is going to be representing what is might be crossing you, and this is the Lovers. We have a lot of major arcanas over here. It's very interesting. So those 3 cards, they're going to be representing the overall narrative. They're going to serve as an additional narrative to those 3 cards. And what do we have here? We have a Queen of Cups. We have Death. And we have 9 of Pentacles. So, and we're going to have those 3. So, what do we get going to have here? This card going to be representing what to focus on, and we have the Star. This one is representing what to release, and we have Temperance. You have a lot of major arcanas over here, Scorpio, so this is kind of it's going to be a very interesting reading. This is representing the best way forward, the actions they're going to be the most conducive to you, and this is Knight of Wands. This one of those runes is going to serve as additional additional commentary to your reading, and I'm going to leave it until the very end. And let me pull one of those spiritual messages for you for those last 2 weeks of October, Scorpio. And for all of you who were born in October, towards the end of October, happy birthday. So let's see what we have here. Choices. We have the card called Choices, and what does it say? When you accept responsibility for your life and the choices you make, you might begin to tap into the power of your own spirit. You'll be able to listen to and appreciate the intuitive wisdom that is inside you, and apply it positively and constructively to your outer world. That's what's coming through for you, Scorpio. So let's see. So the Hermit. Hermit is kind of representing the main thing of for those 2 weeks for you, Scorpio. So Hermit is talking about looking for the inner truth, looking into the truth on the situation. And sometimes what it might take, a Scorpio, is to look in the truth of the situation by researching, looking inside yourself, withdrawing from others, try to understand it from some, or make a sense out of situation. So you might be wanting to find some kind of sometimes it's find a purpose, sometimes it's going to, but I think you're going to find this purpose because things to focus on is the Star. And if you're going to see the Hermit over here is within its lantern is holding a star, so I think most likely you'll be able to find it, is to find this inner star, to find this what is guiding you, finding the truth of the situation. Sometimes is to also looking for some kind of advice. The advice might be coming from someone who is a specialist in the field. And also, in order to find the truth of the situation, it's sometimes to detach yourself emotionally from the situation and and kind of look within yourself and try to I'm hearing orientating and centering yourself. It's about centering yourself, finding your own center. You're being represented by Hierophant over here, and Hierophant is representing sometimes the way how our persona. So it's representing how we're choosing to present ourselves. So if you're going to try to imagine that it's we have a different kind of personas. So how we, how we are in the truth of ourselves, within the true meaning of who we are, the essence, it's kind of represented by the hermit over here. But sometimes we don't want to see people. We don't want to allow people to see us in a way how we want to present ourselves in a certain way. And this is representing, sometimes the Hierophant is talking about this. So you might be leading the way, and you might be not wanting to show your own true feelings, and you're going to take some kind of stand, or you're going to be able to take the higher ground. I'm hearing about the higher ground, moral higher ground, and be able to convey your way of thinking, or your own take on certain things, or your own position in a way that is going to be very detached from the emotions, and you're going to kind of intellectualize, or very rational way present yourself. Equally, it may represent for some of you Scorpios out there, you being head of organization, you're being a leader, leading people and encouraging people, and try to show them or kind of represent them, present them with the way of going forward. What might be crossing you during this period, Scorpio, it might be lovers, and lovers is going to be represented by choices. So you might be torn by the way how you're going to go about certain things. You might be torn between what you think is right and what you think it has to be done, and this might be two different things. So what you would do as a person, as what would be true to you, might be utterly different. What circumstances might be requiring of you. Sorry. English is my second language, so sometimes it's difficult. So what the requirements of the situation might be. So you might be torn, and this might be difficult because you would do it differently. So you might be representing the organization, you might be representing yourself, you might be in some kind of formal setting, and you have to kind of keep up the face, the way that this persona, the way how it's almost you're on emotional level, on your personal level you would do it differently, but let's say on the professional level or in a formal setting, it's something else is required of you, and that might be the thing that might be not sitting quite well with you. So what do we have here in terms of this additional narrative? We have a Queen of Cups, we have the Death, and we have Nine of Pentacles. And I think what it's going to be here, because Queen doesn't have to necessarily represent a person, or doesn't have to necessarily represent a woman, might be representing a situation, but the way how it kind of flows, it feels it's going to be representing you. So she's kind of facing the same direction that Hermit and Star, they're facing. And the Death, that is kind of representing you, Scorpio, in terms of astrological sign. It's kind of heading that direction. So the way how it feels to me is you might be choosing to, you might be arriving at some kind of understanding of situation, and you might be able to balance your own understanding, your own inner emotions, and wanting to change certain things, to change a situation, and you might be very open to a change, and you might be actually driving that change. There is something within you, like a new quality, some kind of urge that it's driving this change, and you kind of feel the things they need to be either addressed or it's almost, I feel like the path for you, it has to be cleared, and you are kind of ready to do it. You are ready to make unnecessary changes in order to clear the path for yourself. And it feels like a clearing. Feels like a clearing the path. And for some of you, you might choose to go on your own, in your own way, and that might be in various different ways. This might be to do with self-employment, it might be to do with some kind of financial security, but also in terms of I'm hearing going on your own and being happy being on your own, whatever that might mean for you, Scorpio. And this might been growing within you for some time, and maybe that's why you are, the whole thing for you for those 2 weeks of October, it's about seeking the truth of the situation, and being able to connect yourself with your own emotions and your needs. Because if you're going to look at the Queen of Cups, she's kind of connecting her emotions, so the water, and her gown is kind of merging with the water, and then she's sitting on the throne, and she's here on a beach, and there's a lot of growth because you have a lot of green over here, and you have flowers. So, and then you might be listening to your own inner voice, you might be connected to yourself, and because of that you might grow in that kind of understanding, or you came to kind of understanding what it needs to be done. You just knew it, but it became stronger and stronger, and because of this very strong pull that you might be having, you might be driving things, you might be removing things from your life that are no longer serving you. You know that certain things might even come to the end, the natural end. So it's almost ending things before you're going to be forced for those things to come to the end. And this is all about standing within your own power, standing within your own self, and enjoying yourself. But for some of you it might be, this is about being on your own, and I'm not quite sure what does it mean, because this might mean financially you're going to be self-employed, financially you're going to be managing things on your own, but equally this is kind of a more conducive situation for you. That's what the indication is. So in terms of what to focus on is the star. It's to be true to yourself and be guided forward. Listen to your gut, listen to your intuition, and being able to manage, let go of things. Because the Temperance voice to release, what to focus on. If you're going to see there's a star over here and she's naked, and there's this guiding star, this northern star, let's put it this way, the highest point, your dreams, your aspiration, what you truly are at your essence, and what you're truly striving for. She's pouring those 2 jugs, so she's so abundant and so full of fulfillment, and And water is representing our emotions. So she's able to let go and be vulnerable and not be afraid of being herself. And what to let go of is the temperance. Temperance is try to hold things together even though they are not longer serving. So it's all about letting go, try to hold things together, because what is driving here is the change, is the death over here. As you can see, I don't know quite how well you can see, you have the imagery of setting sun, and you have the imagery of setting sun over here. So it's the destination, is to know what is, you might be wanting, holding things the way how they are, but you are unable to withhold the sun from setting. So if the certain things you are holding to, because you don't want them to you want to keep them in your life, you have to kind of ask yourself a question here: is it sustainable? And they say try to not hold to things in your life that are not sustainable. And in terms of the best way forward is the Knight of Wands. So you will be able to communicate whatever needs to be communicated in a way that it's a beautiful message, makes sense, and it's almost, I'm hearing, it's not a goodbye, but it's appreciation of what has been. And it almost feels like you're going to say, now it's time for me to open a new chapter and open myself to new adventures and follow whatever I need to follow. That's what is coming through Scorpio. So what is additional commentary to it all? It's Sierra, so it's representing time. So what I'm hearing, the time has came, and that is your time. And it's for you time to take the action over here, Scorpio. That is the overall reading for you, Scorpio. As usual, it's a pleasure to read for you. Thank you for tuning. If you found this reading useful, please let me know by commenting, liking and subscribing. Have a smashing October, the rest of October. Happy birthday, and you take care. Bye.